I'm Cody, and this is my wife Olivia. So we met at a church gathering.
Once we finished school, we've been in the Dayton area for about 4 years, and we've been married for about 4 years.
So I'm an automation developer at the base. I work in finance, just kind of automating different processes that the Air Force uses.
And I just transitioned jobs. I am an executive assistant for the CEO at 5 Star Home Services, so they do HVAC repair and replacement and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, we had talked pretty early on in our engagement, and I think even before that, about family and family size, and we both knew we wanted to have a family.
You know, I want nothing more than to have like a little one of him, and it's been really hard not being able to give that to him. So we're just, yeah, it has shifted a little bit, our desires, obviously, but we're just super grateful to have the opportunity to follow through with what they are now. So we started casually trying and got pregnant, and we were like, oh my gosh, I found out like week 2, like we found out very soon. And so I told him, and he was like, what do you mean? Like, we just started, and we were just super excited. So we told some of our closest friends, and we told our families like pretty soon. And I think it was maybe a week after we told our parents that we ended up having a miscarriage. And then we've been trying since then, and since the miscarriage, it's been about 2.5 years.
You don't necessarily expect to have to wait a long time.
Yeah. The care that I received throughout our miscarriage was just, I felt like not what we needed. And so I ended up making a transition to a new OBGYN, and she just, immediately started running testing, started doing general panels, and, things that we were told initially, like we didn't need because, it happens and it is what it is, like you'll get it next time. The general diagnosis that they give you is just unexplained infertility, which I feel like is, I don't know. Yeah. It's just difficult because, I like answers. There has to be a reason for it. There has to be some type of explanation. And we've been in a phase of just realizing that, like, the Lord's plan for us is a lot greater, but we're not going to know what all of the answers are. So unexplained infertility was just one of those answers that we probably won't ever get, and we're just learning to accept it. We started with Spring Creek. Our first round of IUI was, I think, August of last year, and then we did them consecutively. So we did an August, a September, and an October. And then at that point they said we are more than happy to do additional rounds, but like this would be about the time that we would discuss maybe transitioning you to IVF. And we just didn't feel like we had the right answer. We really struggled because we talked about adoption because both options are expensive. And so we spent quite a few months then after we did our 3rd round of IUI just, praying and trying to figure out what the Lord wanted for us in that regard. And, we kind of decided that maybe IVF wasn't the direction that we wanted to go initially. And, we felt like there were children out there that we would love to bring into our family in whatever means we were capable. So we thought maybe we would transition into adoption, and just kind of decided to pray about that for a little while, and then ended up getting the call from Dawn. And so we were like, okay, well, I guess like the Lord has opened this door back up. And I've been following the program for about a year and a half. And this past year I was like, well, I think it's been time. We should, maybe we should apply and just kind of see what happens. We kind of forgot that we had applied for it because we just recognized that, maybe the Lord has a different plan for us, and He did, but it was this route. It was just getting to this was not the way that we thought that we would. So
we had been looking for a house for a while, and
about the same amount of time that we had been trying.
Yeah. And we kind of felt like we kind of had to pick, do you want a house or do you want a family?
Mm-hmm. We were trying to figure out, would that money come from a house or?
Yeah, so we ended up actually purchasing a home. And then I think it was the week.
It was the week that we got the keys to our house that I got a call from Dawn. I was in our front yard. So she called me at like 8:00 at night, and it was a 937. So I was like, okay, it's somebody local. I was covered in paint, and And she calls and she said, "Hey, this is Dawn. I operate the Birdies for Babies program. And I wanted to talk to you about your application." And like, I think my heart actually stopped. I might have like hyperventilated. And I was like, oh my gosh. I paced in our yard. I mean, there was probably a track the next morning. Like, and I think I talked to her on the phone for like a half hour, 40 minutes. Like, we just got to know each other really well. And she told us a little bit about her story. And it was just, everybody says that the infertility family is a family that you don't sign up for, but you're in it for life. And I felt that with Dawn on the phone, and she knew our pain and she knew the struggle, but she was on the other side of it, so she knew the hope too. Whenever we got the call that we had been selected, it was just insane. I was just bawling, and she was crying on the other line too. And I was out, so we weren't even together. I was out with friends, and so I ran outside and was again like pacing the sidewalk. And then when we got the good news, I called him. I went back because I was there with all my friends, so I told like 3 of them before I called like my parents or my mom or anything. And because I just was like, I can't like keep this a secret.
Tell anybody we can't.
Yeah, like I wanted to stand like on the bar counter and just be like, "Hey, you guys, I have really great news." So it just was, it just feels surreal a little bit, and we couldn't be more grateful just to see, the Lord's plan unfold for us. And it's not at all how we would have chosen it, but it's so good, and we're just so grateful. Yeah, it's just, we're super excited too. So. Yeah.
It's kind of like we said, it just feels surreal that we get to take that next step, get to start that new chapter. It's just, it's awesome. We
were the first of our friends to experience loss or to experience just the grief that comes not only with miscarriage, but with infertility in general. And it's lonely. And so we're just really grateful for the opportunity, of course, selfishly for ourselves, but we get to be a vessel for other people now to recognize you don't have to do this by yourself. And because it's so lonely and it's so expensive, like to be the shoulder for other people that are going to experience this down the road, because it's not fun to do by yourself. So
you never think it's going to happen to you. And then when it does, it just, you don't know what to do. Getting that call and getting that news was just, how do you respond to that? Yeah.
And it felt like someone was on our team, and we didn't have to do it by ourselves. And
came out of left field, and it was just the greatest blessing. People wait a long time, and people have waited way longer than we have for some of the things that we've been praying for. You get discouraged over time, and it's like, okay, when something's got to give, when is it going to give?
It just feels like when we finally let go of the control over our infertility, that release was when the blessing came. And it just, and we waited a long time for it, and other people wait longer than that. But it was just really, it just was a huge blessing, and it was kind of unexpected, and we wanted it more than anything, but we just agreed and felt like that wasn't what the Lord had planned for us, and we didn't have clear direction.
Yeah, just seeing everything kind of come to fruition the way it did is just gives me hope. Everyone we had told was just like floored by the fact that we had won it, and everybody's so grateful, so excited for us, just to see that prayer had been answered.
I think the first person that I called was my best friend. And she just like squealed on the phone, absolutely squealed, because they've been with us the whole time. Yeah. And they, I think they've probably prayed about it more than we have, just because they love us so much. And so I got to tell her, which was super exciting. And so she squealed on the phone just when we got the call that we were being considered. And then my mom and my sister were all the same. And your parents have been super excited about it too. And our parents are both very involved in their churches, and we know that they had friends and pastors and Bible study groups, and so like just a chain and a ripple effect of people that were praying for us. So I know that all of those people were excited to get the news as well. So it did feel like just when we found out that this was an option for us to when we actually like got the good news, we had just like an army of people that had been praying for us like religiously for the weeks before we found out, and or just like the week or two before we found out, and had been praying for our journey since then. So it was not just an answered prayer for us, like it was answered prayers for a lot of people in our family and on the outskirts too. And yeah, we just want to give like a special thank you to Don and Andrew and I mean the whole Birdies for Babies organization. And I know they have family that is involved in it as well and kind of started the program. And so we're super grateful for them and for them sharing their stories and having an awesome opportunity like this. And we're just super excited to be a part of it. And thanks to Spring Creek, our care there is phenomenal. And of course, our friends and family for all of the prayers and all of the support just over our journey for the last couple years. And we know that there will be more where that came from over the next couple months. So we're super grateful.
We hope to see everybody at the golf outing.
Yeah.
Excited to see everyone.